Hey guys, Useless here, and today Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, the show where we round up all of the latest news of the past week of nerdy movies. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We got some interesting stories, so why don't we just jump right into it? All right, first story of the day, MCU show canonicity. It's been a question that I've talked a lot about on this channel. Like, the main question is the Daredevil that we saw in She-Hulk and that we're gonna see in the MCU, is he the exact same Daredevil that is the Daredevil from the Netflix series, or is this a variant of the Netflix Daredevil? Well, we finally have a direct answer. So from CBR. Marvel fans have caught wind of a particular message written by Feige for the foreword of the new book, Marvel Studios' The Marvel Cinematic Universe, An Official Timeline. Feige's message stated, "On the multiversal note, we recognize that there are stories, movies, and series that are canonical to Marvel, but were created by different storytellers during different periods of Marvel's history. The timeline presented in this book is specific to the MCU's sacred timeline through Phase 4. But as we move forward and dive deeper into the multiverse saga, you never know when timelines may just crash or converge. Hint, hint, spoiler alert." So basically what he's saying here, at least this is how I'm interpreting it. Other people might interpret it differently, but this is how I'm interpreting it, is that the only thing as of right now that is canon to the MCU is stuff that's been made by Marvel Studios, right? As he mentioned, stuff that's made by other studios like Fox and Sony, right? Stuff like Daredevil or, X-Men Origins Wolverine or The Runaways, whatever random stuff other studios have made. Stuff like that is canon to the MCU, but only in a multiversal capacity, in the sense that one of those characters can come through a portal, right? Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man can come through a portal into a Spider-Man movie. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine can come through a portal and hang out with Deadpool in Deadpool 3. And so sorry, I'm trying to figure out my camera. Those are technically canon to the MCU, but they're not all in the same universe. That's what I'm getting from this. But he also mentions that through multiversal shenanigans, timelines can at some point converge. So after Secret Wars is over, who knows? Maybe the Charlie Cox Netflix Daredevil, it does become canon to the MCU retroactively. Maybe we see Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool that was in the Fox universe. It just is canon to the MCU now. So I think this definitively tells us that as of right now, the Daredevil that we see that we saw in She-Hulk is not the same exact Daredevil that we saw in the Netflix series. It's not. It is a variant. It's very similar. You can probably watch the Netflix series and get context for who the character is and then go into Daredevil Born Again, but it's not going to be the exact same. So yeah, we officially finally have, I think, a definitive answer. Now, it's still ambiguous enough that it could change in the future due to multiversal shenanigans, but not as of right now. It's different. All right, let's get into the next story. So there's that Fallout series. We finally have a release date for it. The tweet says, "Please remain calm. An important dated message brought to you by your friends at Prime Video." So that's Amazon Prime. So yeah, I guess the series is going to start airing on April 12th of 2024. Cool. I don't really know anything about Fallout, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Never played any of the games, but they seem like an interesting setting. I think basically, is it that there was like a nuclear apocalypse during the Cold War, and so like society and technology never really progressed past that point. And I think that's like the universe that Fallout is set in. So it seems cool, and it would probably make for an interesting show. So we'll see. I'll probably watch the show without playing the games so that I can just enjoy it for what it is. Because I did that with Halo. I watched the Halo show, and I enjoyed it for what it was. And like all of these like Halo nerds are yelling about how Master Chief isn't supposed to have sex. How am I supposed to relate to him? I can't relate to him now. And so I was like, I didn't know that Master Chief was supposed to be a virgin. My apologies, good sir, but I don't care. I enjoyed the show. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know why I antagonize fan bases. Okay, next story. Spider-Man has sold a lot of copies. Spider-Man 2 specifically. So Sony put out the statement saying that more than 2.5 copies sold through the first 24 hours. And I guess to put that in context, that makes it the fastest selling PlayStation Studios game in PlayStation history. So when they say PlayStation Studios games, it means like games that were made by Sony. Obviously, games like GTA 5 probably sold more copies than this, and it came out on PlayStation. But it's not a game made by Sony. So, yeah, it sold more copies in the first 24 hours than games like Uncharted or The Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima or Horizon Zero Dawn, So, I mean, I can't say I'm too surprised. There's been a lot of hype behind this game. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but it seems really great from what I've heard. So, yeah. Congratulations to them. I have nothing else to say because I haven't played the game. I assume it's good, though. It probably is. All right, next story. We now know the embargo for the reviews of the Marvels, and it does not look promising. So, basically, a bunch of nerd Twitter accounts started revealing the embargo dates because I'm assuming Marvel sends out like a mass email to like everybody that gets to watch the movie early, and basically the Marvel social media embargo lifts on November 7th at 9 p.m. The review embargo lifts November 8th at 9 a.m. And let's get a gauge as far as like when the movie actually comes out. So yeah, November 8th is Wednesday, and then the next day is November 9th, and that's when you'll be able to watch the movie in theaters. So yeah, they're releasing the review embargo a day before the movie comes out. And there's no getting around it. This is very worrying for the quality of the movie. If you don't know, usually, like, if a studio is super confident in their movie, they will put out the review, or they'll have the review embargo be like a couple weeks before the movie, so that really good reviews can come out, and then build up hype for the movie. If they're not confident in the movie, they think it's bad, they don't think critics are gonna like it, then they'll put the review embargo for like a couple days or a day before the movie comes out. And that seems like what they're doing here. Now, to be fair, in the past, Marvel has put review embargoes for like a few days before the movie comes out because there are like secretive stuff and like cameos or whatever in their movies, or like they don't want spoilers to get out. So like they did that with like the last two Avengers movies. I'm sure they were confident in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, but they just didn't want the spoilers to come out. So maybe that's what they're doing here, but honestly, the box office tracking for The Marvels is not particularly good right now. And if they were really confident about their movie, surely they would put the release embargo earlier than this to build up hype for the movie, because the movie needs it. So, I don't know. Now, the thing is that apparently Marvel was confident in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So maybe they just don't understand what a good movie is. Maybe this movie's a banger and they just can't comprehend that it's a banger. I don't know. Listen, I'm still kind of excited for it, or not excited, but I still want to watch it. If only just for Aman Vellani as Kamala Khan. I've said before, I will continue reiterating that Aman Vellani as Kamala Khan is the best casting in the MCU since Tony Stark as Iron Man. I absolutely love her in the role. So for me, this is a Miss Marvel movie, and that's why I'm excited about it. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it's good. We'll have to wait and see. Next story. Mission Impossible 8 has been delayed. This is coming from Entertainment Weekly. Paramount has announced that the 8th Mission Impossible film has been delayed from June 28th, 2024 to May 23rd, or 23, 2025, due to the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike. Previously titled Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, Paramount has stripped the film of its ungainly subtitle, though it will still serve as a direct sequel to this year's Dead Reckoning Part 1. So, yeah, Mission Impossible has been delayed. It's obviously due to the SAG strike. Not surprising in the least. Listen, we talked about how Deadpool 3 was also delayed last week, and we can expect more delays in the future. This is not going to stop here. As of recording this video, I didn't make it a story because nothing conclusive has happened or anything, but they are meeting, right? SAG-AFTRA and the AMPTP, they're still meeting, but as far as I understand it, their conflicts are so severe that it's just unclear if they're going to be able to find a middle ground anytime soon. So, yeah, we'll see. Expect other movies to get delayed. Yeah, it sucks. But also, I will say, probably a good thing that they changed the title for the Mission Impossible, because Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 was probably just too long of a title. It's probably just, even if it is a Part 1 and a Part 2, you can just call it different things. So, yeah, I don't know. Either way, we'll see. All right, so we now have an update on how long The Boys is going to go on for. It's coming from CBR. I've since realized that literally no one in history is worse at predicting the amount of seasons of a show, like literally. Kripke admitted, recanting his previous statement that The Boys would end after season 5. This is the showrunner, by the way, Eric Kripke. According to Inverse, he had the same plans for his previous show, Supernatural, which ended up having a solid 15-season run. I have learned my lesson, and I've stopped predicting how many seasons these shows go. You will find out in hindsight, he asserted. So, yeah, I guess interesting to know that his original plan for The Boys was a 5-season run. And because how successful it is, and now we have the Gen V spinoff, it's getting, the franchise is getting bigger and bigger. They're now reconsidering how long it's going to go on for. And this is a little concerning, I'm not going to lie, because when I look at The Boys, as much as I like it, it's kind of running its course. Like, it's definitely gotten to the point of like, okay, I'm still enjoying it, don't get me wrong, but it feels like this should be wrapping up soon. It's kind of like how I feel about Stranger Things, where it's like, I'm going to watch the next season, I'm excited to watch the next season, but it's like, yeah, it should end the next season. When the way that I just currently feel about The Boys is, it's like, it should really wrap up next in 1 or 2 seasons. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll watch next season and they'll introduce a bunch of new characters. They'll introduce a bunch of new situations where I'm like, oh no, yeah, this should go on for 2 or 3, 5 more seasons. But that's just not where I'm at right now. So I don't know. I really don't want them to run the show into the ground. Like, especially with how arrogant the show is in terms of its satirizing like Marvel and DC and all that. It's like, for you to just turn into what you've been criticizing all this time, that would be just especially sad and pathetic. But we'll see, because, I mean, listen, I said the same thing about The Boys Diabolical. I was like, oh, they're doing too much, I don't know, and that's really great. I was kind of worrying the same thing about Gen V. It's like, oh, they might be doing too much. They might be overextending the franchise. But I really like Gen V, so I don't know. As of right now, I guess I should have more faith in Eric Kripke. All right, next story. Speaking of Amazon Prime superhero shows, we have an Invincible movie update. So this is coming from Variety. Well, with all that said, what's the latest on the live-action adaptation of Invincible? So this is actually an interview with Robert Kirkman, the guy who created Invincible, the guy who created the comic books. Still in the script development stage. I think once we get the script to where it needs to be, I think we'll be in a good place and can move fairly quickly after that. But all of the factors that I just discussed are things that we're thinking about. How does this feel new? How does this feel different? How is this going to feel like something that's special? Those are very tall orders. We also need to find a way to play off the animated series, but also differentiate ourselves and give the movie a reason for existing. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we're hopeful. So, interesting that he's so frank about that. So, when it comes to a live action Invincible movie, I've very much been of the perspective of, I don't really need one. Like, I'm already so satisfied with the animated show that I don't even know that you can make a movie as efficiently as you've made the show. Because it's like, the show just does such a wonderful job of making me feel exactly how I felt reading the comic book, to where it's like, I don't even know if I want a movie. Like, I don't need it. So I at least can appreciate that they're going into it sort of knowing that, right? That this movie should bring something new to the table and should like have a reason and like justify its existence. So that's cool. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens next. I don't know why I couldn't think of like a good outro for this segment, but it's what you got. All right, be happy with it. Next story. Jonathan Majors, remember him? Still on trial. It's coming from Variety. Jonathan Majors will face a trial on domestic abuse charges after a New York judge denied the motion to dismiss the case. I guess he decided the notion of it as well. The trial date is set to begin on November 29th. During the hearing, his defense attorneys filed a motion to request that contested evidence remain under seal and barred from public view due to the high-profile nature of the case and allegations against Majors. So that's the key thing there, right? So basically, I was kind of wondering or kind of suspecting that maybe there wasn't going to be anything here and that the case was going to be dismissed, but that's not the case. The judge is like, nah, we're going to trial with this. And apparently there's other evidence that Jonathan Majors' team doesn't want getting out in the public eye. So what is that? What do they not want us to see? Yeah, so things have officially gotten spicy once again. But yeah, we don't know anything, so obviously you shouldn't come to any conclusions. You should just wait and see how the trial goes. Of course, the internet is definitely going to do that. Next story. Percy Jackson. Disney's got big plans for him, so let's read about what those plans are. It's coming from Variety. If all goes according to plan, the writers will have plenty of options for when and where to explore Chiron's backstory. They're talking to like a producer, by the way. These are quotes from the producer. We want them all, Burke says of the 11 books and counting that Riordan has published within the Percy Jackson universe. Beyond the original 5, in spite of the movie experience that he had before, he's an expansive thinker about his work. He doesn't have a rigid interpretation of it. The other series that he's created that live in this world are all part of our universe that we can adapt. So, yeah, this was a part of a really interesting Variety article where they kind of go into the idea that Disney is going into this sort of with the perspective that this series can live alongside its main franchises like Marvel and Star Wars. Like, apparently the budget for each episode is similar to like the budget of The Mandalorian. So that's very interesting. I really hope that the Percy Jackson fan base comes through. and well, I mean, if it's good, I should say, I hope the Percy Jackson fan base comes through and funds this series for more seasons and whatnot. But yeah, the fact that they're not just wanting to stop at 5 books, they're wanting to do like the Heroes of Olympus and what are the other ones? I think is that something like the Trials of Apollo. I think Rick Riordan has also done the fucking like the Kane Chronicles. Isn't that like an Egyptian one? And there's like a Norse mythology one. Now I don't know if if the Kane Chronicles and the Norse mythology one are like set within the world of Harry Potter, but for sure this includes the Heroes of Olympus as well as the Trials of Apollo, I believe. And I'm pretty sure he's also writing a new book about Percy Jackson, where Percy Jackson is is the protagonist. So yeah, as far as myself, I've read the 5 Percy Jackson books as well as the Heroes of Olympus. I haven't read past that. Okay, that's about where I got to as a kid. But listen, I love Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson is my Harry Potter. I think there's so much potential for this franchise. Disney, I beg of you, just please be good. Please make it good. I need this to be good. Don't disappoint me. Me specifically. All right, I'm looking at you, Bob. Mr. Iger. Wagging my finger. All right, next story. Five Nights at Freddy's. Are you serious? I thought I added the image. Is this image here? Okay, that's all the one that matters. Okay, it's coming from Deadline. Five Nights at Freddy's was not slowed down last night by its day-and-date release on Peacock, making $10.3 million at 3,050 theaters. Easily, Freddy's is the biggest preview for a theatrical day-and-date release ever. The movie was made strictly for Freddy's fans and not for anybody else. Typically, Hollywood wants to expand a film's audience beyond an IP's core demo. That was not part of the plan here, which is why the uni content strategy bean counters put this day and date. Given the franchise that's being born here, it wouldn't be shocking if they kept the sequel strictly theatrical. So they also went. The article also noted that. So just to put it all into context, $10.3 million is about on par with the Thursday numbers for Oppenheimer, right? So just to put that into context of how massive this is, it's crazy to think how big this movie could have potentially been were it not released on Peacock at the same on the same day. So listen, man, this movie is gonna be massive. I don't know that it's gonna reach the same numbers as something like Oppenheimer. That movie made like $900 million, but it's gonna have a big opening weekend. And depending on how rabid these 12-year-old FNAF fans are, I could see this movie reaching like $500 million, $600 million, maybe $700. I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I haven't seen the movie yet. I don't know if it's as bad as the critics say. Obviously, the critic score is very, very low. So it's one of those things. But it's like when you look at like the Mario movie, for example, the critic scores for that was also really low. But I do think that at the end of the day, Mario is more of an iconic franchise than Five Nights at Freddy's. And I think enough people have enough experiences with Mario to where for those people, it is enough for like most of the general audiences, it's enough to be able to like point at the screen and go, look, Mario Karts. I've played Mario Karts. Look, they're he ate the mushroom and he grew big. He ate the fire flower. Now he can shoot fire out of his hands. I've done that in a Mario game. I think enough of the general audiences are like they can do that to enough of a degree that it can sustain the box office even though the movie isn't good. I don't think that's the same. The same thing just doesn't apply to FNAF, to where like general audiences have no fucking idea who the purple guy is. They have no idea what the bite of 87 is. Like the stuff that FNAF fans are going to point at the screen and go, I recognize that. I know what that is. I don't know if that's going to make it have the same legs as something like the Mario movie. So we'll see. At the end of the day, I haven't seen the movie, but just judging by the critic scores, I don't think it's going to end up being that a good enough of a movie to have super strong legs, but it's still going to make a lot of money, especially when you think, I don't remember how low the budget is, but Blumhouse didn't break the bank making it. So we'll see. But anyways, next story. The Highlander reboot is coming. This is coming from Deadline. In the world of Highlander reboots, there can still only be one, and it's a good one at that. For the first time, Lionsgate will be launching sales at the AFM. So that's the American film market. That's like a place where people go to sell movies to production companies on their long gestating fantasy reboot, which has Henry Cavill aboard to star as the eponymous Scottish swordsman and John Wick filmmaker Chad Stahelski set to direct. We hear this will be a big budget proposition, north of $100 million. Stahelski himself has previously talked about it as akin to John Wick with swords. The team is eyeing a 2024 start. All right, so I'm not going to lie. I've never watched The Highlander. I have no idea what this what this franchise is about. But I like Henry Cavill. I like swords. I like John Wick. So I guess I'm interested in this. Like, John Wick with swords sounds cool. Yeah, by the way, did that article mention that? Yeah, it did mention that he said that it's John Wick with swords. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm excited for this based purely on the John Wick with swords thing. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you Highlander fans, I should say, let me know what you think. Does this excite you? Do you maybe think that while you maybe like the John Wick movies, maybe Highlander should have like a better narrative focused direction to it, or is it okay to just make a Highlander movie that's just action? Let me know what you think. And let's move on to the last story of the day. So, your eyes deceive you. The image that you are looking at right now is not from the film The Batman. It is from the video game Batman Arkham Knight, because Rocksteady accidentally published the skin from the Batman to Arkham Knight on the Epic Game Store. They've since taken it off. So I don't know if there are a bunch of people that were able to download it, and I don't know if they still have access to it, but yeah, they accidentally published it. So the assumption is that this is meant to go alongside with the Batman Arkham Collection Switch port that I believe is coming out in December. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's not going to come out to just on the Switch port. It seems like it's going to be on all platforms, or at least the Epic Game Store as well. So yeah, listen, I'm going to be replaying our Arkham Knight completely with the Batman skin. It is what it is. Yes, I am enough of a nerd that alone would get me to replay a game. And the question is, am I going to play it on Switch? I mean, listen, getting the Arkham games portably is like a dream come true. So probably, I mean, here's the thing. I will be willing to tolerate like 480p, 25 FPS. If it's like worse than that somehow, which I don't even know if it's possible, because I think that's what it was on. I think that's what The Witcher 3 was running at. If they're able to get it to that, right? The dream is obviously a crisp 720p with jaw-dropping, stable 30 FPS. But like, I will be willing to take it lower than that. And yeah, obviously I'll be playing with the Batman skin. I am hype. I am excited. But yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Will you be replaying Batman Arkham Knight? All right, let's get into what I've been watching. So I finally got around to watching the Ahsoka finale, and I don't hate the show, but it definitely does just feel like more Star Wars content. You know? It's like, it's not nearly as bad as the Book of Boba Fett. You know, it's not. It's about on par with like Mandalorian season 3 for me. And I will say, if you didn't watch Rebels and the Clone Wars, and you just went into this as like a live action Star Wars fan, I honestly don't think you get much of anything from the show, because I think the main problem with the show is that it on its own doesn't do enough to make its characters interesting. It merely picks up on storylines that were like set up in other shows. So like everything that went on with like Ahsoka and Anakin, that's stuff that you if you didn't watch Clone Wars, it's like, I don't know that you care. Like stuff with Hera, and actually, did this show even do anything interesting with Hera? They really didn't. And yeah, like stuff with like Sabine and Ezra, it's like, if you aren't already attached to those characters, it's like you don't care about their reunion. So I just feel like the show is just misguided at best, and just wholly uninteresting. You know what I mean? But again, I think I'm being too hard on it. I didn't mind watching it at all. Like, I honestly didn't. I was like, this is Star Wars content. But at this stage in the game, where Star Wars is at right now as an IP, you have to be more than that. You have to be great. You have to be Andor. That's what you have to be. So yeah, I don't know. This did not make me particularly confident about Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie. I don't know. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, let me know what you thought about Ahsoka. Did you like it? Did you hate it more than me? Let me know in the comments down below. I also watched the Equalizer 3. I just decided to catch up with the Equalizer movies. These are just very generic action movies. They're not bad. Like, oh my god, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Oh no. Very famous actor. Denzel Washington. He's great. He's Denzel Washington. These are just very average movies. But, these are great movies to watch with your dad. You know what I mean? Like, I bet your dad would really like these movies. So, watch them with your dad. Call your dad. Just call him, honestly. Just screw movies. Just call your dad. You should do that. But, I don't know. I honestly don't have much to say about The Equalizer 3. It was fine. Then I also watched It Lives Inside. This is a horror movie. About a girl who accidentally, a demon gets unleashed, and they have to figure out how to repel it or whatever. And it's decent. It's a decent little horror movie. I think the best parts about it are sort of the family dynamics in it. The daughter has kind of a strained relationship with her cousin and with her mother. And I found all of that stuff to be actually pretty good and pretty well done. The horror aspects, it was creepy enough. I thought there were some fun little scares and goofs and gaffs in it. But yeah, overall, not great, not amazing. I don't think you necessarily need to rush out and watch this one. But yeah, I had a decent enough time with it. And yeah, that is going to wrap up this episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup. I don't know what to say, man. I'm tired. I just want to go to sleep, to be honest. To be perfectly honest with you, I just want to go to sleep. So I am really great at this. I'm really great at hosting a show. You can't tell me otherwise. Bye.